everyone, my name is Melissa Seifert and I'm a registered physiotherapist and clinical director of Cornerstone Physiotherapy's Long COVID Rehabilitation Program. The purpose of this video is to demonstrate the use of HeartMath's new HeartMath app using the Inner Balance Coherence Plus HRV feedback device. To start, you're going to pull out your device and ensure that it's nice and fully charged up. The larger part of the device with the button on it is going to clip just to the collar or neck line of your shirt. And the smaller clip is going to clip to the meaty part of one of your earlobes. Once it's in place, you're going to open the app. You'll have to create a username and password. It's important to note that because this is a new app, the pricing structure is a little bit different than the use of the previous Inner Balance app by HeartMath. If you buy a new device, an Inner Balance Coherence Plus from HeartMath, you will have lifetime access and unlimited access to this app. If you're using this app with an older device, there is an annual charge to use the device, or to use the app, So once you're all logged in, you're going to come to this home screen here. You can do a 2-minute measure of your heart coherence. I've been practicing HRV biofeedback for a while, so I'm not going to do this initial step, but I encourage you to. I'm going to tap on the little heart icon in the bottom right-hand corner, and this is going to take me to a non-guided session or manual session. There are lots of opportunities to explore in the Explore tab, different types of guided coherence breathing work. But today we're just going to do a manual session, which is what we encourage our long COVID patients to start with. I'm going to click Start Session by tapping on the play button here. And I'm going to select that we have a Bluetooth enabled device. If it says that the sensor is not found like it did here, you're going to press and you don't need to hold, just press the button on the main part of your device and the little plus heart should start to flash. Then you're going to tap Scan for Sensor. You'll see here that it's scanning. And I'm going to rub my earlobe to get the blood flowing as they recommend. Try that again. Perfect. So it looks like everything is connected here. And they're going to start by doing a baseline HRV scan. So you don't need to do anything special during this time. As you can tell, or as you can hear, I'm just going to talk through it. And it's likely going to have me starting with a fairly low HRV and low coherence score because I'm not pacing my breathing. I'm not doing any mindfulness right now. I am in a relaxed position, a position that's comfortable for me, and I encourage you to do the same. So now the session has started. You'll see at the bottom, it's starting to count up. At the very top in the middle, you'll see a number. This number will periodically change throughout the duration of your session. So you'll see here my number 2.6. I think it was up in the 3s. Oh, now it's down to 1.7. This is what's called or known as your coherence score. You can read a little bit more about this and what goes into this score on HeartMath's website or within my blog post. Basically, what we're trying to achieve with HRV feedback training is a balance between the two branches of our autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic branch, which is our fight or flight response, and the parasympathetic branch, which is our rest and digest response. Most individuals that we're recommending this type of training for have some degree of dysautonomy or dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system, that generally speaking will cause a tipping of this autonomic nervous system to that sympathetic branch, which results in very exaggerated and extreme physiological reactions to different types of stress, whether it's physical stress, emotional stress, or cognitive stress or exertion. So you'll see as I've been chatting here, my coherence score has stayed on the lower end. I am trying to keep myself calm, although recording a video does bring with it a little bit of stress. I'm trying not to stumble over my words. You can see that my score is okay. We generally like scores to be 5 and above. Great if they can be 10 or above. But when you're starting out, let's aim to try to get above 5 and try to keep it above 5 throughout the duration of your session. So I want to bring your attention now to a couple of other features of this screen. So you've got the circle right in the middle, and within that circle you'll see an expanding and relaxing, almost cloud-like image. In the previous Inner Balance app, this was called a mandala, and it was rainbow hued, and it would expand and contract, or expand and relax. And this is what you're going to use to pace your breathing. So as the circle fills, you're going to fill your lungs with air in through your nose. And then as it relaxes, you're going to let your belly soften and let the air out through your nose. So this is paced, meaning that you can set the length of time or the length of breath, but the inhale and exhales will always be matched, and that is a fundamental requirement of coherent or coherence breathing. So you can see the longer I'm talking, the lower my coherence score is becoming. At the top there, you can also notice these little dots around the circle that are becoming a little more scattered as my coherence score is going down. That's because, again, I'm not pacing my breathing and I'm focusing on articulating my thoughts around this tutorial. Now I'm going to stop talking for the next minute or so, and I'm going to start doing some paced breathing following the mandala or following the inner circle there. And we're going to see a few things happen that I'll explain at the end. Hopefully, I'm able to get my coherence score up and organize some of those dots around the circle a little more. All right, so you can see, although it took a little bit of time to get going, my coherence score started to increase as I implemented the paced breathing following the mandala, and those little dots started to organize themselves nicely around that circle. I'm going to now tap on the top left-hand corner, those 3 vertical lines. It's going to take me to a different screen. So some people prefer this screen, some people prefer the screen I was just on. These are your 2 options in the HeartMath app. We can see again at the top the coherence score at the top middle there. You can see your total elapsed time in the session and something called coherence points, which you accumulate the more sessions you do and the longer you spend in a higher coherent state or with a higher coherence score in a session. You can see as soon as I started talking, my coherence score has come down from the 7 and 8 where it was, down much lower than that now. Right below the session time, you'll see what's called a chaser. So it's just a different way to pace your breath. So you follow the little dot as it goes up the hill, you breathe in, and as it goes down the hill, you breathe out. Focusing on really pulling air into your belly. Your belly should push out or expand as you breathe in and should soften or relax as you breathe out. Then in the bottom screen, you'll see your real-time heart rate variability pattern. So the numbers on the left-hand side are not heart rate variability in milliseconds, but actually your pulse rate, okay? And then what's basically being graphed is your heart rate variability. You'll see here that the pattern since I started chatting again and stopped doing the paced breathing has been very scattered, sporadic, not a nice rolling hill or what's known as a sinusoidal wave, which is what we're kind of after with this. So again, I'm going to stop talking for about a minute or 2 and start doing my paced breathing again, and we'll see what the effect on this heart rate variability pattern becomes. Okay, I'm going to end the session there to save you all your precious time listening to me breathe again. So I'm going to tap end in the top right hand corner, and then it's going to show me a summary of my session. So you'll see the total length of time, your average heart rate, the average coherence score, and the total coherence points you accumulated for the session. Then we're going to see our heart rate variability patterning over time. So you'll see this is the beginning of the session where I spent the first few minutes explaining the app and the purpose of our video, then you'll see when I start to perform the paced breathing around the 5-minute mark there, and how my HRV pattern starts to improve. Then you'll see there I stop doing the breathing and start chatting again, and my heart rate increases, my pattern becomes less nice sinusoidal, becomes a lot more jaggedy and irregular. Again, we'll move over around the 9-minute 15-second mark where I start doing the paced breathing again, and how that pattern improves over time. And at the bottom here, if I scroll up, we can see my coherence score over time. You can see again the pattern when we start doing the paced breathing and when I stop doing the paced breathing. A couple of things I want to note here as well. You can definitely fatigue from this if it's done, a lot of sessions back to back, which unfortunately I have been doing because I've recorded this video a few times now. In addition, you will notice it's more challenging if you've just come off a very stressful experience, whether it's physical, cognitive, or emotional stress to your body and your nervous system. Some other tips, and we talk about this in the blog post as well as on HeartMath's website, is the use of mindfulness throughout an HRV feedback session. So I wasn't performing any sort of mindfulness throughout this, but if I would have, you would have seen market increase and likely a very much steeper slope of improvement in coherence once I started my paced breathing. So what this mindfulness looks like is a focus on some kind of positive emotion, something like joy, hopefulness, love, excitement, something. This can be a memory. You can just focus on gratitude is actually a very big one that I often will use when doing these sessions myself. So what works for you is going to be individual. It can be a memory. You can think of a person. You can think of the feeling itself. You can associate with a color, a smell, a sound. But doing this and engaging the mind in this, once you get the pattern of the paced breathing down, I find I don't often even need to look at the mandala or chaser anymore, that I'm closing my eyes and I'm really focusing on this, and then I'm using the feedback part of this when I do the session results at the end, when I complete the session. And I'll often see much higher scores, higher coherence points, and a more quick ascension of my coherence score and HRV patterning when I really focus on the mindful aspect. The other thing that you can play around with is the pace of breathing itself. Research would support about a 10-second breath, a 5-second inhale and exhale, to be somewhere ideal to create sort of physiological equilibrium. This was a little bit quicker than that, and I did find myself sort of craving or wishing I had a slower paced breath. So this can just be changed in the settings within the app. And it's always going to match the inhale and exhale. Inversely, when you're just starting out, you might find that the 10-second breath is actually too long and it becomes really challenging, and you start to either fatigue or feel physiologically imbalanced, feel like your sympathetic nervous system's really taking over and you're unable to engage the parasympathetic with that longer breath. And then you can reduce it and work up to a longer breath as well. If you have any questions, you can always ask your Cornerstone Long COVID physiotherapist. You can also email us at our general long COVID email, covidrehab@cornerstonephysio.com. Any questions you have about this, and a member of our team will reach out to answer any questions you have. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch and listen today. And I wish you all the best on your inner balance, coherence, HRV, biofeedback journey.